So I'm going to go through packing everything up, making a little screen recording and organising your folders for your submission. I'm sure that you've all looked through the project brief and you're happy with whatever it is that you've done or are doing. So those are the problems that you've got to choose from. You're using Figma, you've probably used some Photoshop and Illustrator in the background to make some of the assets for you. Your project is a proof of concept that presents how the thing might work. So there's parts of it that might not actually be able to work properly, and you can explain this in your video. Remember that your project is 30%, your log is 40%, and your report is 30% as well. There's some details just to double check what your project is going to have in it and how appropriate it should be to your audience, that you should be making your own images and content for the project, hopefully in Photoshop and Illustrator. If you are using any found online public domain or AI content, then you should have talked to me about this, and you must also properly credit it, as any uncredited material might be considered academic misconduct. Further down on this page, there's information about the university's plagiarism guidance. Your log needs to document everything that you've done throughout the module. So from right at the beginning, in the first weeks, look at the presentations that we did, and also look at the notes about the presentations, or the ideas about the presentations that didn't happen. Some of those might be interesting to you. There was reading, Donald Norman, that's important, we talked about that. And then of course there was the tasks that we started sometimes in class, and then there was the extra bits that you would do outside of class, and then there's the development of your final project. All of this needs to be in your log. And then also you need to have a written report talking about the ideas, techniques and themes within the work and within things from the module, mainly the readings and bits from the lectures and other discussions that we've had. Here's a structure for your report, so hopefully you can follow that as far as the writing is concerned. And then I've got a list here of each of the separate elements that you will need to finish off and save and put into your folder that you're going to upload. And so you can see that there's any working application file. So that's stuff that you've used any Adobe software for, mainly Illustrator, Photoshop, InDesign, and the wonderful Macs that we had a little go on. Make sure that all of these files are named and organized in folders inside a folder in your submission. If you've uploaded or shared online the Adobe InDesign or your Figma project, then make a little text file with the link for those on it. And then for your finished piece of work, you'll need to take some screenshots and piece those together in a little PDF walkthrough. I really think it's important that you make a walkthrough demo video, and I'll do that in this video in a moment, so that you can explain everything about the project to someone who might not have a clue about even opening a Figma file or clicking a link, because work from this module will get looked at by somebody who isn't teaching on it, but somebody else who does teach on the media production course, and those are chosen at random across the whole of the two groups. And then also some of this work will be sent to an external examiner, and they will also look at it as well. And so what they're doing is they're checking my marking, and they're checking that the work is suitable and the feedback is good and appropriate. And they might not know about interactive design. They might be a documentary maker. So if we just can give them a little video that introduces the project, explains how it works, shows them how to use it, walks through all of the elements in it, then that's great. Make a PDF of your log. Hopefully you've been using Adobe InDesign and you've been able to embed all of the content in there. Make sure that there's some notes and a little bit of reflection throughout all of that, all of the weeks and the development of your final project. And then the report, you're allowed to illustrate it, so add photos, well, not necessarily photos, screenshots and images of the work that you have been making, if it's relevant, things that have influenced you, and things that are important for you to discuss in relation to the final piece of work. And this can be exported as a PDF or as a Word file. And if necessary, if you have used some AI, then you need to write a little statement about that. What AI tools you used. Was it ChatGPT 4, 5.1, Adobe Firefly, something else? What prompts did you put in to get it to make whatever it made for you? And a little bit of reflection on how you conversed with the AI. So iterations of how you generated whatever it is that you wanted, and maybe the first few versions that it created weren't right, and so you went back and you said, can you do this? Can you make this a bit better? Can you improve it by doing this, that and the other? Okay, you need to explain that. We want you to be able to understand why and explain how you've used anything like this, any bits of AI. For your writing in the report, please use the Harvard referencing style, and there's a link to it on the page here. This is a video from a previous version of the module that talks about making and organizing all of your hand in, and I'm going to go through that separately now. So if I go and look at my amazing final Figma project, it is here. I've got this, which has got various little overlays and then some buttons that link to some other bits of content. Your project's going to be a lot better than mine. So we remember that we can press Shift and the space bar, and then we can see our project. You could present it like that and then work through it and show whoever it is that's going to look at this what's happening in your project, and explain as you go what all of the buttons are doing, where they're taking us, what possibilities there are for any kind of interactions throughout the project. Okay. You could present it like this, pressing, we're in prototype mode, we could press present in here, and we can get this version of it, yeah, which is just the same. And we can still go and click on my crisps, and we can go back. We can look at the woman shouting at the cat. We can drag the donut around. We've got a share prototype button here, which allows us to get a code, web address rather, that we can share. So this will be something that you could put into a text file and hand in. And I've just pressed copy link up here. So if I make a new tab and paste that up here, then we can see this will load that into the browser. Okay, so that's where we can share it. And it's in a similar place in InDesign, if you remember when we looked at that. What we covered briefly in one of the final practical sessions was exporting all of this content as images. Okay, so we could take screenshots of all of this sort of thing. On a Mac, we can press Shift, Command, and 4, and we will get the target, and we can drag over like that to export a screenshot you can see over here. What we can also do is we can go to the export setting down at the bottom, and we can add or take away an export option. What we've got here is the sort of resolution, so we can do it as it is 1 times. We can add more pixels and make it bigger, all the way up to 4 times. Let's just set it to 2 times. And here we can set it to export it as a PNG, a JPEG, an SVG, or a PDF. So any of these will be a nicely exported, rendered image that we can then put into our image walkthrough of our project. So let's go to JPEG, and we can look at any settings in here. Let's have it same as the file. Quality is going to be high, imagery sample in detail, ignore overlapping layers, include bounding box. Well, let's just leave that as it is. We can press export cat yell, and it will save that into the downloads folder on your computer, and you will have a little PDF very similar to that. To do a screen recording on a Mac, we can use QuickTime Player. So let's open that. Go up to File and choose New Screen Recording. And then you'll get this little box come up further down the screen. And here you can make some selections. What you want to do is record the whole screen. You can set an area that you want to record if you want to. So you can just select an area with the box like that. I usually just do the full screen. So you can see what I'm doing, and you can see that I jump backwards and forwards in time because I am slightly disorganized. Look at the settings anyway. In options, it's going to be a QuickTime Player thing. So that means that it's going to save it. Well, it'll probably save it onto the desktop for you, or into your documents or movies folder, and it'll give you a little file like this, and it will be called screen recording. Give yourself a little countdown. So we've got 5 seconds there. You'll get a little countdown appear on the screen when you press the camera to go. Do set a audio input, so use your microphone on the computer that you're sat at. I'm on my laptop, and it's called MacBook Pro microphone, and I've got show mouse click switched on so that you'll get the little circle ripple thing happen when I click. So once we're happy, if you're doing this now, your mouse will be a little camera icon, and as soon as you click, it will start recording. And so you can make your recording. Well, it'll give you the countdown. Then you can make your recording and do your thing. So here's me doing my thing. Look at my amazing project. Oh yeah, that's good, etc. Oh, crisps, we like them. We can go back. We can see the lady, etc. We can also go here, and we can drag the donut around, and so on. And that's why you think my project's really good, and you'll give me a good mark. So once we've finished our walkthrough, we can press the stop button on a Mac, which is up at the top here. And what that will give you will be something called screen recording, and it probably will end up over on the side of your desktop. So what we want to do is have a look at that in this Handbrake piece of software. Handbrake is free. It works on a Mac and a PC and other sorts of computers. You can just download it, and we can open the video file in the software. So because my screen, and probably the screen that you're using, will be quite high resolution, so you can see here this is 3,564 pixels by 2,304. That's pretty big, and that's what's making this file 900 megabytes, something that's only about 12 minutes long. So that's a bit too big, especially to upload to Canvas. So what you'd want to do is use Handbrake to compress it and make the file size a lot smaller. It really doesn't need to be that screen resolution. It doesn't even really need to be 1080p. Yeah, that's still pretty big. You could make it 720p and that would be fine. It will make it a smaller physical size, pixel size, but also a lot less megabytes to worry about uploading when you're panicking right near the deadline. So we'll choose where we're going to save it. So mine's going onto my desktop. We can press browse and we can put it wherever. We can give it a name. Final walkthrough. Yeah. And then we can either add it to a queue or we can press start. And so I'll press start and then off it goes. It's going to take about 3 minutes. Okay, so that's finished, and hopefully that file is not 999 megabytes. 32.8 megabytes. That's great, and that'll upload nice and quickly to Canvas. So this is the kind of way you should organize your final project folder. So get yourself a little AI statement if necessary, just a Word file. You got your log, which is 40%. You made it in InDesign. You've exported it as a PDF. You've got a folder of any additional files, and anything that's in there needs to be organized, named, etc. You've got a little text file with any links to any shared, uploaded online files, projects. You've got your final project with any other extra bits of documentation, PDFs of your screenshots, saved, exported weekly tasks, homework, any Adobe files. All of these have been organized and named. Your final walkthrough demo video, and your report. And that can be either a Word document or a PDF. One other thing that I missed, but you can save your project out as a .fig file. So you can go to the little Figma logo up in the top left, go to File, go down to Save Local Copy, and it'll save that whole thing as a .fig file. You can hand that in as well.